Hello there fellow modellers, Steve here, and this is the first video that I've did since I think it was the end of January. Now, I know that I did say I was going to make them more prominent, but everything else gets in the way and you forget to do it and you think, oh god, am I going to do a video tonight? Oh, I haven't got time, or anyway. But I've got a bit of time now, so I thought I'll get one just to show what I've been doing over the past 4 months. Models I've got finished, models I've started, and I haven't bought many kits. Well, I did buy, I think we went to, I think it was the Bolton show, and I think I only bought one kit there, which I'll show you, and a few accessories and paints. And the next one we went to was the one at Darlington, which no, that was where I bought the kit at Darlington. I only bought one. I think I bought 2 or 3 at Bolton, but they're all packed away in there for storage around the loft. But I bought a lot of paints and accessories, so that was, it filled us up because I was lower on certain paints anyway. But it's been a bit quiet because we didn't go to the Scottish Nationals. But the next model show is our own Northern Model Show, which is in 3 weeks time, I think, 3 weeks tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that, and it's going to be a good one. So what have I got done in the last 4 months? Well, there's a few kits that I started probably this time last year that I've only just got finished. I'll show you one. This has been going on since, I think I started this about 2 or 3 years ago, and it's the, I'll have to get me camera out now. Right, it's this one, which is the old Airfix Bristol Freighter. It's actually the Super Freighter, 170 Super Freighter. Now this is a very old kit, and I'd started it and it sort of got put away in boxes, but I was motivated by one of the lads in our club. He bought his in, which was, I think it was last year or maybe the year before that, and I started to get, as I said, you've inspired us to get started on it. So I've started it, and I did all the detail inside where the passengers sit. There's a bulkhead there, and this is where the cars go. I think you could get about 2 or 3 cars in it, and it was used on, it was originally by Bristol Air Ferries, and it was used to transport before the roll-on roll-off ferries that literally killed the business. But you could only get 2 or 3 cars, so it wasn't very profitable really, but it was an experiment, and the plane had been around for quite a bit. But it's a nice kit. So I detailed it inside. I don't know if you can see it, but I know it's there anyway. Inside it's all been ribbed, and there's a cockpit. The cockpit's been made a bit better because it was very bare. It was just a cockpit, some pilots, and that was it, empty inside. Now I haven't done the doors yet because they've got to be ribbed as well, but I thought I'd get the kit basically put together. So it's all done, it's just ready for priming now. So that's ongoing. Right, what else have I got? Right, now I started this probably about 1.5 years ago. It's the old, well, the very old Tamiya Matilda. I think it was a Mark IV or a Mark II, one of the two anyway. And it was an alright kit to build. It was one of them really early Tamiya ones where you could motorise it. And I did it in different camouflage to what was on the box. It was like it was a brown, I think, and a sand, and like a bluey colour, but I decided to do it something different, and I put it on a base with the palm tree. I'm quite pleased with how it's turned out. Depending on what kit you get, you might get 2 or 3 figures or just one, which is what I've got. And I've weathered it a bit. The sand, I think I could have done a better job with the sand, because it looks a bit lighter than what the base is. But I've put some sand splashes on the side, and especially on that side, as though it's been churned up by the tracks. And it's just stopped short of crashing into the palm tree, with a few bits of rocks there. But it was a nice kit to build. Right, well, I'll put that there. Now this was something I bought which it just caught my eye really. What it is it's a German Würzburg radar set. And I just thought it was in, where was it? Chester Moor Model Club, which I'd never been. I went once. And it was a good shop, but it's a bit of a, I think it's a 2-bus hike for me if you haven't got transport. But I saw this and I thought, it's interesting. And I built the base myself and the camouflage netting, which was ironic really, because one of the lads at our club, he wrote a book on it because he's a big fan of it, and he was pleased that I'd actually built one. And I borrowed the figures. You didn't get any figures with it, but of course where it'd been, I think most of them were Luftwaffe manned. I'd hunted around on eBay to find some figures, and I couldn't find any. And then I think it was, I can't remember whether it was last year or the year before, when I was at Telford, I seen a Waffen SS Panzer set, which basically looked the same, and all I did is paint them Luftwaffe blue. And there's 2 there, radio operators, radar operators, and the officer there. Now I was going to sit another one on there, but when I put the kit together, because it didn't come with any figures, you couldn't get the guy to sit in it. The only way you could do it is to chop his legs off. So I left that. But I put the sandbags round, but it was that was really what was on the cover of the kit, and I'm quite pleased with how it turned out. Very well pleased. Something different. Right, what's next? And this is something that I'd already built, but it was an idea I got off one of the lads I know off YouTube, Len. I can never pronounce his second name, but he's known as Chanza North Wales, and he built for a group build last year, I think, a load of Harriers in various forms, Falklands, Belize, the Balkans, and he mounted them on photo frames, just cheap ones out of Poundland. So I thought, that's a good idea, that. So I've mounted this one, which was built, I think I built it last year sometime. It was the Hasegawa FA-18 Hornet, but it was in the markings of the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Britain. As you can see, it's Canadian really. So I put the Canadian flag that I downloaded off eBay off the internet, and it's something that I fancy doing again, because it just, if you don't build them with undercarriage in, which this didn't have because it was originally on another base, it sets it off really. So you can put any background there, and I decided on the maple leaf flag. So that's something I'm going to do in the future with other kits. Not necessarily Hornets. Right. Now this I started last year. was for a Pacific group build, but I never managed to finish it. And it's this, which is it's the USS Indianapolis, which is the ship that delivered the atom bomb to the island of Tinian, which was then loaded onto Enola Gay and sent over to Hiroshima. But on its way back, it was sunk by a Japanese submarine, and a lot of the sailors on it, they fell victim to the sharks. And it's an ongoing that the captain was actually court-martialed, just didn't do his duty or something like that. But the guy who was in command of the submarine that sank him actually come to his court-martial and gave evidence in his defence, and he was eventually cleared of it, but he never recovered from it. And it's Revel, but it's basically the old Matchbox kit reboxed. Now, I've did it in the colour scheme it wore in 1944, but obviously with when it delivered the atom bomb, it was just in a play grey scheme. Now, it did have, you can't really see it, the decals is that small, the pennant number, which is, you can see it better on the stern there. No, that's me pen knife. Ah, yes, it was CA-35. Now, they're too small, but they actually had markings for the two float planes, which is, where are they? There. But I thought, I'm not going to mess with them. Not a chance. But it was a nice kit. Nice kit to make. Now I'm on the kits. Ah yes, I haven't got the landing pad for it that I made, but it's this one, which is the Airfix 1/72 scale Carmen SH2F Sea Sprite. Now, I know Matchbox did a kit of this, but I can't remember it. Now, this was built, I think this was started near to the end of when we had the lockdown, and it was just put to one side, and I decided to finish it again. Lots of detail in the cabin because I put some pilots in. Now, the decals I had with this, or that come with them, as soon as I put them in the water, they just melted and separated, and they were a waste of time. And I did have, was last year at Telford, I did have a choice of saying, oh well, they're bound to have some decals for a US Navy helicopter. But I went on this decal stand, and they had decals for a Sea Sprite, Australian Navy, Polish Navy, everything but the US Navy. So I thought there was a kit that was in the Give Kit a New Home, which was in place of what the kit swap usually is. There was a Sea Sprite there. So I was toying with the idea of experimenting by melting the decals off that helicopter and putting them on this one. But I tried it and it just didn't work. So eventually I had to go on eBay, and I found a kit that was for spares and repair for parts, but it had a decal sheet. So I just bought that, and I've used the decals, and they turned out okay. And as you see, they've went on very well. Now I have made a helicopter base for it, which is what was when it was based on the Knox class frigates of the US Navy, but it's it's somewhere and I haven't got it with us. I might get it out for the next video, which hopefully will not be very far away. But that's what I did there. It was the first helicopter I've did for years. Now this one was just a one-off really. I seen a picture of it, somebody had made a model of it, and I've looked through books and I can't find anything resembling it. It's basically one of them, or it's supposed to be one of them British fighter designs of the 50s and 60s that were basically cancelled by governments, but we won't go into that. This is really, it's a Harrier with its, where's my pointer, with its tail planes angled up like that instead of a single tail plane V-type, and it's got a Hunter nose. So I had a Sea Harrier kit and a Hunter kit, so I bought them, knitted them together, and it's turned out quite well. And I fancy doing a 1/48th scale of it, because I've got a 1/48th scale Harrier, it's a Sea Harrier actually, and I bought off one of the lads in our club a Hunter 1/48th scale that he was selling when he seen that, and I haven't started that yet, but I'll probably get round to it in the next 10 years. But it was a very interesting kit to make, and I did it in the imaginary Royal Navy markings. So that's me built kits. Right, what's next? Right. This is something that I've just started. And guess what? It's another Hornet. This is a 1/48th scale. It's the Italieri, and it's the FA18E Hornet, which is the newer modern ones. This is the single seat version. The F is the two seat version. As you can see by the different air intakes. Basically the FA18E and F and the 18E, the EA18G Growler are basically Hornets from the front, but the rest is just basically a new aircraft, because it has bigger, what do they call them, Lyrex wings or something, because there's extra fuel. There's an extra hard point on each wing. The engines are uprated, and it's got more avionics. Now I'm not making that in Maverick's Hornet from the film Top Gun Maverick. I've got another kit for that, but I thought I would start this straight away because I'd already started the cockpit there. Now I've put some seat belts in, but I think they are a bit thick. This is made out of Tamiya tape, but it's an experiment anyway. But the rest of the kit in there, you can't see in there, the cockpit's quite detailed really. And that's an ongoing project, that. And something else I've started, which is the Revell 1/72nd scale Horton, oh god, what is it? It's a Horton GO 229, I think. An imaginary, one of the aircraft that never got off the drone boards, but I think that it's in bits in a US aircraft museum because it was taken to the US after the war. It was really ahead of its time, a flying wing, before the Americans even ever thought of them. Interesting subject. And I've actually started something else which is like it. This is an aircraft that never got off the drawing board. It's a Messerschmitt P11-9. The same as the Horton, like a delta wing with tailless. And all this has a tail. The Horton doesn't. Single seat interceptor type aircraft. Or what if? I was just clearing out my kits stash to make room for more kits, and I found this, and it was only a small box. I said, oh, I'll build that. What else have I got going? That's about it. I've started another kit which is for a group build for, it's World War II group build. It's run by Robert Artenoff, the group build group, and it's a Kant Z107 an Allion, which I think stands for Kingfisher, and it's a 3-engined Italian bomber stroke torpedo bomber that was replaced by the SM-79, which was a better aircraft. But it's an odd type aircraft, so it appeals to me, like. But that's what I've just started there at the moment. I've got another Hornet on the go, which I'm making into one of the Aggressor Hornets for the Top Gun squadrons, and there's another kit that I've got that's downstairs drying at the moment. It's a MiG-21 1/48 scale that I'm making in Cuban Air Force colours. And I've just give it a coat of the top camouflage. It's a blue and green, and it looks colourful, interesting, rather than the normal straight like aluminium of the Russian aircraft. Some of the Middle Eastern countries use the MiG-21 and probably still do, and theirs has camouflage on, and it's a lot more striking than just a boring silver colour. But apart from that, I have nothing else on the go at the moment. I don't want to try and start anything until I get at least get the Bristol freighter finished. So that's my roundup of the last 4 months of what I've been doing. I can't think of anything else. I've got it's downstairs at the moment, a C-46 that I built for another group build that I didn't get finished, and when I'd painted it, the silver on it was cracking. So what I did was I put it in a bath of Dettol, and the paint is literally all off. You can still see, you might be able to see a bit traces of it, but it's a lot better than it was, and I've just primed it today. So I'll be doing that again, and it's in the markings of Buffalo Airways, because I have the markings for it which I bought last year. But the last one, it wouldn't have looked right, so I had to use Dettol, which I've used before for a car project, and it does take all the paint off. It stinks, like, so you don't want to get it on your hands because it's an antiseptic stuff. But apart from that, that's all I've got going. I can't think of anything else now, other than the kit that I bought. Now there's one of the lads in our model club. He built a Matilda tank and a Tilly van in what is known as Malta camouflage. It's a light stone colour, but it has in green, it's like a stone wall type, because in Malta there's a lot of stone walls, and it was just to meet another different type of camouflage. And I said to him, I said, that looks good, that I fancy doing that in getting a truck. Now when I went to, where was it? It was Darlington. I seen one of the lads I know who's on the crafting well with his wife. Hi there, Nigel. And he says, we've got some kits there. I says, have you got anything World War II British Army trucks? And he picked out this, which was it's an artillery tractor, but it's a truck. Now I've had a look online, and they were based in the Middle East, which classes as Malta. So I'm going to do that in this Malta type camouflage. I haven't got any photos of it, but I've put it on my favourites in eBay of another guy who's done a Valentine tank, so that's just for us, for reference really. But this is quite a big kit. Well, it's 135 and it looks good. So that's going to be, I think I might start that. No, I don't know where I'll start. I'll not get it finished for our model show. No. But that's going to be in that Malta type camouflage. So that's it. Oh God, what have I did there? Right, that's it for now. All I can say is happy modelling, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye now.